Gaming mysteries uncovered. What happened to our fun?
Have you ever been looking through Steam for a game to play and find that nothing really looks interesting to you?
Yep, all the time.
Maybe your old favourites like RuneScape and WoW have lost their appeal?
Oh yeah, never played RuneScape. Played WoW, and I am just too much of a trash can for WoW. I'm just so disinterested in it.
Or new titles like Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2?
These are not new titles. I mean, on paper, yes, but it's a more fair statement to say that is Overwatch 1.2 and Diablo 3.5. That is a more fair statement.
Are just asking too much from you. In this video, we will take a look at how gaming has changed since the early 2000s and what decisions are being made by publishers and developers that negatively affect your gaming experience.
Every decision has negatively affected my gaming experience. Every decision. Some outliers, here or there can, buck the trend, but for the most part, every decision.
With that said, let's go back in time and look at a classic gaming experience from over 20 years ago. The first game that I remember playing obsessively was actually the 1999 release Unreal Tournament. I was 11 or 12 by the time I started playing it, and it had been out for a few years by this point. I used to play it on my brother's laptop with a ball mouse that would clog up because of how long I played.
Oh yeah, I had one of those too. And the little cover thing at the bottom would always somehow just spin off, and then you lift the mouse up and the ball would just roll away off of the desk. It was so annoying. And then by the time the mouses came out, I was like, oh, these are so much better. Why weren't these invented sooner?
Unreal Tournament looked incredible at the time, with its deep space setting and head-spinning galactic backdrops. It utilised the first generation of the Unreal Engine, which would be an extremely powerful engine for when it was made, and in later iterations like Unreal 5, would blur the lines between the virtual world and reality.
Every iteration of Unreal that comes out is closer and closer to a photorealistic. It's crazy.
The story of Unreal Tournament was pretty simple. You're a gladiator in a dystopian future where blood sports are the greatest form of entertainment. You're selected for a tournament with the aim of fighting your way to the top and competing in a 1v1 deathmatch against the current champion of the tournament, Xan.
Yeah, it was simple. You're a dude. He's a dude. Now, just go fight, alright? That's it. There wasn't any, oh, you gotta go through the 100 character levels to unlock the gun. And then once you unlock the gun, you got to go through the 100 gun levels to unlock the correct attachments, because all good attachments are at the end of the gun experience line or whatever. And then once you have all your attachments, then you can play the game. Jesus.
You'll fight against opponents with basic combat skills at first, and soon find yourself pitted against seasoned veterans of the Unreal Tournament. You'll need to make the most of the advanced weaponry and gadgets available to you to come out on top. The game featured a wide array of futuristic weapons, ranging from the more grounded sniper and pistols, to the more ridiculous Ripper and Redeemer, firing whirling saw blades and a guided nuclear warhead, respectively.
What the heck?
There were power-ups like invisibility and overhealth, as well as environmental interactions like jump pads and teleporters on the various maps.
Nice.
And the game featured some of the most iconic arena shooter maps of all time, like Morpheus and Face. Once you had completed the campaign, you may try your hand at online matches and play versus other people.
Good luck.
With Insta-Gib shock rifles being the most fun and sweaty time. Although this game was made in 1999 and designed by a handful of people, the passion they had for it really showed, and Unreal Tournament, along with Quake 3, released not long after, would be the godfathers of the arena shooter genre. Unreal Tournament delivered on the simple but addictive competitive shooter experience, and I think there are plenty of people who are hit with a wave of nostalgia whenever they hear Monster Kill.
Oh my god. I never played this game, but my buddies did, and they would always say this stuff. But I would be so young and I didn't understand. I'd be like, what are you guys talking about?
A few years later, in 2008, I bought a game called Resistance 2, and it was
Oh,
probably the best value for any game I've ever purchased. It had a single player campaign, a massive multiplayer mode,
oh,
and what I
Resistance. I remember this game. This was like the dude versus all the aliens game, but it was kind of Call of Duty. Yeah, what happened to Resistance?
would say is the best 4-player co-op mode in any game I've ever played. Resistance 2 was set in an alternate version of 1950s America, with you taking control of Nathan Hale and helping fight off an invading alien force. The campaign follows on from the first Resistance game, and will see you travel across the United States and beyond while the story unfolds. The game features many great set pieces as you fight the alien hordes with powerful alternate history weapons. However, where Resistance 2 really came into its own was in the multiplayer modes, boasting the largest multiplayer matches available on the PS3 at the time, with a staggering 60-player capacity, with death matches and huge skirmishes being the main appeal.
I remember that, like when they like marketed that on TV, like 60v60. Because like I tried to play it, but my internet was so shit that I would always like lag out or whatever. So I never really got to enjoy it.
Then there was the co-op mode, which sees you working as part of a team to complete various missions during a sideline campaign story taking place at the same time as the single-player game. This was the best part of Resistance 2, and where I spent the majority of my time. The missions were varied with different objectives to complete. The classes were interesting and different enough that you would need certain combinations to even complete some missions on the higher difficulties, and the progression was great, with new unlocks and upgrades being made available the more you played. Resistance 2 had an absolute ton of content, and everything that could be unlocked in the game had to be earned through gameplay.
And right there, that's where the difference, I think, is unlockables through gameplay versus paying to unlock all this stuff. That's really the crux of it.
That meant no buying XP boosts, no loot boxes or battle passes, and no in-game shop.
Yep.
It was a complete game, and the developers clearly made it with the players in mind, even trying to innovate in the console space with the largest multiplayer ever seen by that point, along with a huge amount of unlocks across the various game modes.
I think I took this game for granted, like looking back at it and like seeing all the stuff you could do. God dang.
And then it came when I was 17 years old in college.
He's gonna say, oh, ooh.
Modern Warfare 2. This game was the death of my social life and my grades.
Yep,
And I
same.
loved every second of it. This to me was the peak of gaming. I completed everything on Modern Warfare 2.
Yep, you were the gamer's gamer if you beat this game on Vet and you you dropped a couple nukes in the multiplayer. You were the bee's knees.
I got the Platinum Trophy. I got to level 70, 10th Prestige. I called in multiple nukes.
Nice.
In 1 year of playing this game, I racked up a 36-day playtime.
Dang.
To put that into perspective, that is a 10th of an entire year just playing a game. The campaign was
Those are rookie numbers. You gotta bump those up.
incredible. The Spec Ops missions were fun and extremely challenging on Veteran, but the multiplayer is where the joy was.
Yep, so you walk out of here, you look slightly to the left, and then you time it, you aim down sight with the intervention, and if you're lucky, you can get like a quad feed or whatever.
It was pure, unbridled
he missed.
chaos. The Infinity Ward dev team must have inner ear problems because they can't balance for shit. I'm ashamed to say I was a quickscoper, running around the map using sniper rifles like a shotgun and taking part in the Rust 1v1s that everyone used to love.
Nice.
But if this seems like too much work for you, then you could swap out for an actual shotgun that had the range of a sniper rifle, like the Akimbo 1887s.
This was the ultimate like annoyance because you could run around super speedy, and then the moment someone popped out around you, you could just instant gib them. And because of the range with these guns, like a lot of the fighting spaces that you had to work with, like because the ranges were so short and the shotgun range was so long, this thing could like honestly, it could probably like if a guy pops out through this door right here, he would get one shot by these shotguns.
If you couldn't be bothered aiming, you could use a one-man army noob tube class to give yourself infinite grenades.
Yep.
If you didn't even want to use a gun, then you could go full Rambo and use your knife while running around like Usain Bolt.
Yep, that was also a viable strat.
Everything was so unbalanced and overpowered that somehow
Everything just felt good.
nothing was. You could make any class you want and make it work.
Yeah.
The point is, Modern Warfare 2 was madness. It was messy, it was frustrating at times when you were getting spawn camped by a chopper gunner or joining a game when an enemy nuke was about to go off.
Yeah.
But it was fun. In a time before skill-based matchmaking, you could hop on for a few hours and...
Bro, I forgot about that. I forgot about skill-based matchmaking. Like, holy. Like, depending on which shooter you play nowadays, that thing's got skill-based matchmaking in some form.
never be bored once. Sometimes you would absolutely destroy brand new kids who got the game for Christmas, and other times you would get absolutely spanked by what you can only assume are actual Optic members. Up until this point in gaming history, the purchase of a game was usually a pretty simple transaction, unless it was a live service like World of Warcraft. You saw a game you wanted to play and you paid for it. You owned the game forever and would only ever need to fork out more money for extra downloadable content like expansions. In my opinion, it is around this time where things start to decline in the games industry. Steadily at first, and then at a faster and faster pace.
Yep. It was about the time when, what was it, Oblivion came out with the horse armor. That would probably be the start of the downfall.
The first instance of a Battle Pass system that I could find any mention of is Dota 2's Compendium Pass from 2013.
Really?
The concept of this pass was actually not terrible and is a far cry from the bastardized version we would see in later games. The way the original Compendium Pass would work is you buy it, and some of the proceeds would go to...
That's so funny, they call it a Compendium Pass instead of a Battle Pass.
towards the esports scene and prize funds, which directly prompts growth of the game and the competitive infrastructure. There is a reason why the top paid esports stars are all Dota 2 players after all. There were also stretch goals, depending on the number of passes that were sold. The more passes sold, the more rewards would be offered to those who did purchase it.
That's actually really like a really cool idea. Like whatever the tournament is for the game, all the games, like in-game like transactions or whatever, they would just go towards like a prize pool, it seems. But bro, this is like unheard of to me anyway. Like, I'm used to watching like Joe Schmo Apex tournament, 5K, 10K, whatever's, or like fighting game tournaments like Joe Schmo's tournament, 10K, 20K, whatever's. It's like gigantic. Well, obviously this is like this 1.7 number. This is like a once per year type number, you know, like a championship Super Bowl type thing, at least for like games anyway.
Now, although Dota 2 was the first game to commit this cardinal sin of gaming, it was not the reason it became such a popular method of monetization. Now, if you still think Fortnite means a 2-week period and not a game for ADHD-riddled 12-year-olds, then you may not be aware of the impact that this game had in around 2018. Fortnite would almost exclusively monetize itself with its Battle Pass.
Bro, was the shotgun like... Or was the pump shotgun that good? That guy was like a good, decent distance away, and Ninja's still like head peeking him like a shotgun from that far. Huh.
And it would make an absolute fortune. You see, Fortnite was free. Anyone could download it and play. but you'd be using the default skin, and that sucked. To unlock the cool skins, like the Reaper, you would need to pay for the Battle Pass. And if your school friends all have it, then you wouldn't want to be the only one without it, would you? In addition to this fear of missing out, the game also puts you on a clock. Because a Battle Pass usually only lasts a certain amount of time,
Yep.
you need to sink as many hours as you can into the game to make sure you can unlock everything before.
You gotta hurry up and complete it, or else you're gonna miss out. And nobody wants to have the fear of missing out. The FOMO aspect of it. Oh my.
Before it's gone for good. Battle Passes are a system that most major developers would come to adopt across various games.
Yep.
And is one half of the monetization woes that many gamers wish would finally be put to rest. And it is in no small part thanks to the popularization of Fortnite.
Yeah.
The other half of these woes would be vilified to such an extent that certain countries would outlaw the practice entirely over concerns of
Oh, the Battlefront 2 debacle. Oh baby.
children gambling. I am of course talking about loot boxes.
Yep.
Loot boxes first arose in the mobile gaming market in the late 2000s in Asia, but would not see mainstream implementation until much later. A loot box functions similarly to how loot would in an MMO. You open a box and you have a chance to receive certain items, with items of higher quality having a lower chance to drop. Loot boxes can usually be purchased with real money directly, or with an in-game currency to try to make you forget that you're actually spending your hard-earned cash.
Yep.
The original Overwatch had a loot box system, although because you paid for the game itself, these boxes would only feature cosmetic items and nothing that affected gameplay.
Yeah.
Even this system would be complained about by Overwatch players, but they would soon come to realise that there are much, much worse systems out there.
Yeah. Because the main issue, I mean, it's just cosmetics or whatever, like you said. As long as it doesn't affect gameplay, most people are generally alright with it. But if you compare this method of acquiring cosmetics to the Modern Warfare method, you know, where it's like just run around, get kills, get headshots, unlock the skin because you had to do an in-game skill as opposed to just paying with money. It's a stark difference between chasing cosmetics using your skill versus chasing cosmetics just using your wallet and swiping.
Soon, newer games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 would begin limiting your access to certain features to get you to buy loot boxes.
Oh.
Do you want to play as your favourite baddie daddy Darth Vader? Well, you had better have your wallet handy, or you'll need to spend 40 hours playing the game before you can even think about it. And this is for one character. Before the game released, there were reports it would take up to 4,000 hours of gameplay to unlock everything. That is an absurd number, and is probably close to the number of hours I've put into League of Legends over more than 10 years.
That's crazy.
DICE and EA would come under such heavy fire from this model that it was reworked before the game even released. But the damage was already done.
Oh yeah.
And while there was a massive amount of hype for Battlefront 2, the sheer greediness of the game's creators put a lot of people off and really damaged the game's reputation.
Oh yeah. When a game first comes out, that's when it has its biggest effect on people. Because I mean, to my knowledge, like if you go get Battlefront 2 today, it's a good game or whatever. But in my head, I'm still like, it's that same dog shit game that it came out. You know, that initial what do you call it? Impression is what most gamers remember. Because most gamers are going to be casual to like a game when it first comes out. And because of that, they're not going to keep up with the game. They're not going to watch all the the secondary and tertiary little, you know, videos, news sources or whatever they get for their specific game. So if a game seems shitty on release, that image is going to stay in the gamer's mind. You know, no matter what happens to the game after. So, yeah.
This is not the first time that EA would be criticised for their money-grubbing practices either. The gaming giant has made a ludicrous amount of money by vomiting out basically the same FIFA game every year.
Copy paste. Oh, look at this. He's comparing. It's literally the same game, 1-to-1. Ah, and the FIFA trading cards. Ugh.
knowing that 12-year-old kids are going to be forced to buy them for fear of missing out. FIFA games are functionally the same every single year, and there are never any new or groundbreaking features or significant graphical upgrades. But
Bro, look at the grass. The grass is greener. Doesn't it seem like that? Like, look at the grass. It's greener.
EA don't want new or innovative. They want safe, lazy, and
Yeah.
profitable. And considering in 2021 the company made $1.6 billion solely from FIFA Ultimate Team packs.
So you look at that number, 1.6 billion, and obviously, if you're EA, you're looking at that number and being like, hey, apparently there's an audience that likes all of these modern monetization methods, all right? Because if they didn't, that number wouldn't be as big, all right? I will say this. Gamers are incredibly stupid and amazing at taking and eating shit year after year and not questioning anything. You know? If you really want this to change, just stop buying the packs. You know? It's not that tough.
It's easy to see why. Now, FIFA and Battlefront 2 are online multiplayer games with a competitive element.
Mm-hmm.
So I can somewhat understand why people would want to pay money to get ahead if they don't have hours and hours of free time to sink into a game. But EA also made Dead Space 3, a single-player, third-person horror game where the whole story and plot revolve around you being stranded and powerless versus an outbreak of infectious aliens that are trying to kill you.
Yeah, and Dead Space 3 was the worst installment of Dead Space. Ugh, so sad.
The game is tense with a creepy atmosphere, and you'll constantly be hunting for ammo and new weapons to fight for your life.
Not in 3. All the levels are copy pasted. You have to go forward in a level from like a point A to point B, and then you have to go back in the level from point B to point A. And that's essentially a lot of levels in Dead Space 3.
So why would you possibly be able to buy the best weapons in the game with real money? This is not only an obvious money grab by the developers,
Yeah.
but it completely runs counter to what the game is all about.
Imagine if you were to play like Resident Evil like 3, 4, 5, you know, that typical over the shoulder with like Chris Redfield and Leon Kennedy and so on and so forth. Imagine if those developers had the same model, you know? Hey guys, if you give us like 10, 20 bucks, we'll give you some badass guns to shoot down them zombies. All right? How about that? Would you guys like that? I think we can deliver that, you know? But because it was Dead Space and it, you know, wasn't as popular as Resident Evil, the effect wasn't like, I mean, I was there for like when Dead Space 3 got released and I saw all this shit. I was like, what are all these fucking packs that weren't there in like 1 and 2? I was so like baffled and saddened by this. I was like, ugh, this is stupid.
If you buy a horror game, but you can pay to make the game less scary or difficult, then why bother playing it at all? At that point, you're not actually paying for more content or gameplay, you're actually paying to experience less of a game. EA aren't the only ones who do this either. The recent Resident Evil 4 remake has just received its Mercenaries update, and many players were disappointed to discover you can purchase upgrade tickets with
What? You could do it in Resident Evil? Oh my god, I didn't even know.
real money. This seems par for the course with recent Resident Evil games. Resident Evil Village had a survival resource pack that you could buy for 99 cents, which includes ammo, health, and lockpicks. Game developers and publishers have become so cynical that they will actually give you less game and expect you to pay for things that should come as standard.
Bro, I didn't even know that happened in RE4. Like, I've was kind of interested in like the speedrun scene, like when it was like popping or whatever, but like I never like paid enough attention to it to like figure out, oh, there's like pay to win shit in there. Bro, that is just so sad.
Very rarely do we get a complete shooter game that is original or a good shake-up of the formula,
Yeah.
or a game so full of content that you can play for hundreds of hours and still not have unlocked everything, or a game that is actually just so fun to play
Mm.
that you don't need a constant stream of unlocks from a battle pass or loot boxes to enjoy it.
And here's the thing, with all three of those games that he listed, if like versions of those games were to come out today, they would be plagued by all of the same modern day practices that are present now but weren't back then. So if you were hoping for like Unreal Tournament modern day, like that game exists actually. I'm just now remembering it. Like I played it like maybe a month or two ago. There's like there's battle passes, there's like account levels, and for the most part, it's just like cosmetics or whatever on it. And then what was right here? I know this was like, oh yeah, this was Resistance. If they were to reboot Resistance, it would just be the same thing: battle passes, loot boxes, skin packs, or whatever the heck. And then you all know the story with Call of Duty. Call of Duty is just a copy paste type thing, just like FIFA. And gamers just eat that shit up year after year.
Now we get games which are free, but limit the amount of content you can get. Completely single player games where you can just pay to progress. Or games which require an unrealistic amount of effort to progress.
Oh yeah, that shit's fucking annoying. Like I'm playing D4 right now. Oh my god. I'm like level 70 something and like I'm already just grinding nightmares and I just want to stop. I want to quit. I don't want to play anymore. It's so boring. But like, hey, this is a modern audience. This is the age of modern gaming, all right? It is what it is. If you don't like it, don't play it.
As far as other people who simply buy XP boosts and unlocks. All of these factors, loot boxes, battle passes, paying for progression, can probably best be represented by one of the worst received games I've seen in recent years.
Oh, this is Diablo Immortal.
Can you guess what it is?
Yep.
It's Diablo Immortal. Although the game reveal gave us perhaps the most tone-deaf and memed response to Backlash.
Yeah.
Do you not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Yeah.
People were rightly concerned over the decision to make the next installment of the Diablo series a mobile game. Mobile games are notoriously aggressive with their monetization and progression systems, often arbitrarily limiting how long you can play in a day or requiring players to wait literally.
Oh yeah, I was there watching this shit when Quinn popped off or whatever. Like he spent like upwards of like 25, 27k NZD, New Zealand dollars, to like just get like one tier 5 gem or whatever. And it was crazy.
Months for upgrades to complete or buildings to finish. I'm looking at you, Clash of Clans Town Halls.
Yeah.
Diablo fans were proved right in their apprehension of Diablo Immortal, as the game launched to terrible reviews, mostly citing the pay-to-win structure of the game. With estimates that it would cost over $100,000 to fully kit out your character.
Oh no, actually now, I think it's closer to like 500,000 to like $1 million to like fully upgrade your character in Diablo Immortal.
Streamer Quinn69 even went so far as to spend $15,000 on the game in search of a single level 5 gem.
Yeah.
He finally obtained what he was looking for. However, later in the same stream, he permanently deleted his only character and uninstalled the game in protest of the microtransactions that plagued the game.
Hell yeah.
Blizzard have made more and more Scrooge McDuckian moves in the last few years. As mentioned earlier, Overwatch 2 has seen its fair share of complaints since releasing. It is essentially a slightly tweaked game from Overwatch 1 with tiny differences.
Yep.
There is one less player per team, and there's a new game mode. That's it.
And it's not even that new of a game mode. Push? Bro, that shit already existed.
They didn't even include the PvE mode, which was the whole point of making a sequel.
Yep.
However, Blizzard used the relaunching of the game to completely rework its monetization system. Instead of paying for Overwatch and getting loot boxes as continuous rewards for playing, you now got the game for free, but need to pay to unlock cosmetics. And new characters need to be unlocked through the Battle Pass, which of course can be sped up by paying for the premium version.
Yep. Regular, there's the free Battle Pass, the paid Battle Pass, the premium Battle Pass. There's 3 Battle Passes right there.
So, with all the complaints and backlash that EA, Blizzard, and other gaming companies have received over recent years,
Yep.
they must be listening to feedback and learning from their mistakes, right?
Nope.
Well, let's take a look at the next major launch from Blizzard and see what Diablo 4 will have in store
Diablo 3.5.
for us. First off, the price of the base game has been increased from $60 to $70, which would be about £60 here in the UK. That's not a good start. That's for a digital code with direct download from the Battle.net launcher. There's no discs or anything to justify the increase. The game will also include a Battle Pass, boo, but it will only include cosmetics for the game. Yeah.
Bro, I have no idea how to access the Battle Pass. Like, whenever I play the game, I do see like a little store tab or whatever, and that's it. I've never... Well, here's the thing. I have actually clicked on the store. You know what's annoying about it? It's like every time you click on it, this lady with like a deck of cards has to go through her whole like animation of like shit, like undoing the cards and like shuffling her cards or whatever the hell she does. And it's like it has to go through that every time you click on the store. And with that alone, I'm just like escape, escape, escape. Not interested.
Yay. Except it will also contain XP boost for your character, and you can pay to unlock tiers in the pass. Damn, we were so close.
Bro, you weren't even close at all.
Let's have a quick look at the other versions of the game that you can buy as a pre-order. If the already hiked up price tag hasn't put you off, then why not just shell out an extra 20 or 30 quid for the Deluxe and Ultimate Editions?
Yep.
The Deluxe Edition will include the premium version of the Battle Pass for the first season, and you'll be able to access the game up to 4 days early, subject to server instability, time zone differences, and error code 37 likelihood.
Honestly, as shitty and stupid as that is, you know, I'm an adult and I have patience. And when a game gets released like 4 days early, I don't give a shit. All right? Because what does that mean? The game is always online. All right? Seldom has like a Blizzard game ever on day one worked correctly. I mean, granted, Diablo 4 was like in general like a generally smooth release. But how many years did that take? You know, 15, 20 years just to get like one kind of smooth like release game on day one? No, thank you. All right. Just wait until the normie release, the casual release.
The Ultimate version of the Diablo 4 game will include everything that the Deluxe version does, but also grant a 20-tier skip for the Battle Pass and some cosmetic wings for your trouble. So generous.
You know what's funny? I see people flashing their like little angel wings in the game, and it's like it's not even impressive like at all. Because that just means like you're trying to like flex on like adults, you know? Because it's mostly like adult gamers like that play this shit. It's like you're trying to flex on them or whatever. It's like, bro, you didn't earn that in any way, shape, or form. You're probably a dog shit player. You have no idea what you're doing, and you're just buying shit just to buy it. You know? Like, cosmetics that people buy and try to flex on you are just so unimpressive. It's hilarious.
So why are these alternative versions of the game so poor in my eyes? Well, firstly, they're so expensive, even if I was going to play this game for a living, I wouldn't get either of them.
Yeah.
Secondly, the extra benefits actually aren't that useful or important as a pre-order bonus when you really think about them.
Yeah, because they realize if they were to do anything shady like that, they would never hear the end of it.
For £70 or £90, You will get up to 4 days early access before the game's release date.
Oh, Butcher.
But Season 1 of
Level
Diablo
22.
4 will not be starting until 2 weeks after the game's initial release, at which point you will most likely be starting a new seasonal character and playing along with everybody else anyway. The other big issue with early access is Blizzard has had some of the worst game launches in history.
Yeah.
Anyone around for Diablo 3 will probably have Vietnam-style flashbacks of this screen. I can think of nothing more irritating than spending all of that money on a game to be able to play it early and for the servers to shit themselves like they usually do.
Yep.
Even if it is only for 10 or 12 hours, then to me it just means that it's not worth the extra cost.
To the general population, it's not worth the extra cost. To the hardcore degenerates that just play the game 25 hours a day on release, it's like, of course, that's an obvious win. You know, that's an obvious buy that they're gonna get.
Is there any hope for the future?
No.
This video may have painted the whole games industry as some capitalist overlords that want nothing more than to bleed every penny out of their demographics.
Yes.
I think that is true of some companies like EA and Blizzard, who are more interested in making games solely as marketing media for their in-game shops. But there are also other games developers and publishers who still try to make their games the absolute best that they can for you.
Oh, the ever-popular Elden Ring. So how many years of bullshit EA and Blizzard have we had to go through to get one Elden Ring? I don't know. What, like 10, 15, 20 years just to get one Elden Ring type game? It's not like predatory in its monetization model. That's not worth it to me. I mean, you know, Elden Ring is still like a great game or whatever, but it's like if I have to wait more and more years just to get another great game like Elden Ring, I don't want to.
You, the player, and not their shareholders. It's easy to see why a game like Elden Ring was so massively successful in comparison to even other From Software games. It was the first FromSoft game I ever played, and I put about 60 hours into it in 2 weeks. The difference between Elden Ring and most other games is that the design philosophy behind it was to make it the best possible experience, and to not compromise this experience in order to make a few extra bucks. Imagine if you could just buy ancient dragon smithing stones for real money, or buy an exclusive summon that was just better than all the others.
Yeah, they would be swimming in the money if they actually did shit like that.
The story would have still been told the same. The characters that you interact with wouldn't have changed. The lands between would still look incredible. But the experience would be hollow and meaningless. It would be less of an achievement to kill Melania or complete a no-death run. And it's not just large companies like From Software that are maintaining their vision in the face of a very large bag of money either. Indie developers are showing what can be done when you just have a passion for making fun games, with instant hits like Vampire Survivors offering a fantastic experience without shoving a shop in your face after every run. The point of this video is not to try and say you shouldn't buy Diablo 4's Ultimate Edition if you want to. I think you should if that's what you want. But we need to realise that games are slowly shifting away from the medium to tell stories or get lost in a rich fantasy world, and becoming a vehicle for extracting as much money out of you as possible. In my eyes, the only way this will ever start to change is if less people are paying for the premium battle passes that they don't like paying for anyway, and maybe use that money to support other games companies that actually care about their products. At the end of the day, do we want to live in a world where you have to pay extra to get elves to speak Elvish in a new Lord of the Rings game? Well, if you've made it this far into the video, then thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, then please leave a like and comment below. Or if you disagree with something in this video, then let me know and we can talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.
This is a good video. I like this. This is my first time seeing Overleaf. And yeah, I think it was awesome. You know, he hit on a lot of great points. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we're in the modern era of modern audiences and modern gaming. And if you ain't part of the in crowd, you out. All right, it is what it is. But overall, I liked the video. I thought it was cool. I'm interested in seeing more of Overleaf. I think he's great at what he does. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I gotta say. And take it easy, guys. Later.